Is Luke, second book, verses 41 to 51. Once again, Luke, second book, verses 41 to 51. But before we get into the scripture, I'd like to briefly give some background to this text. The Christian Bible, as you may know, contains 66 books, 39 in the Old Testament, or Old Covenant, 27 in the New Testament. And most theologians agree that it was written by 40 authors, and it spanned a time span of about 1,500 years. But strangely enough, within all of that text and over 31,000 verses, there's only one mention in the Bible about Jesus as an adolescent or teen. So today I want to look at why just this one passage and how is it important to us. So now turn with me in your Bibles to Luke chapter 2, verse 41 to 51. I'm reading from the New International Version. Every year Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of Passover. When he was 12 years old, he went up to the festival according to the custom. After the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Let me stop right there. It is common, or was common, in Jewish custom for males and females to ride separately during transport. So it was very easy for Mary or Joseph to both either thought Jesus was with them. So this is not a matter of them having neglected their son or lost him. All right, let me continue. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. Then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." "Why were you searching for me?" responded Jesus. "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" Now this is a very important part of the passage. His parents find him after 3 days. In our times, after 3 days, 72 hours, you would probably file a police report to look for your son. But in this case, they go back to Jerusalem to look for him. When they find him, he's in the temple, surrounded by scribes and other people in the temple, and he's obviously amazing them by his understanding and knowledge of the word. When his mother addresses him, his response back to her is, "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" Now in some scriptures it's written as taking care of my Father's business. In either sense of the message, what is understood here is that Jesus understood who he was and what his purpose was. He clearly identified with what he called the Father. The Father meaning God. It's important at this juncture that we understand that what is unique about this passage and why I believe this is the only mention of his adolescence in the Bible is because it shows from a very early stage in life that Jesus understood who he identified with and for whom he was purposed to work on behalf of. And in these days and times, there's stories in the news that says that millennials are sometimes even staying home with their parents now until they're into their late 20s, late 30s. And most people try to say it's a matter of the economy and finances and not having the wherewithal to make enough income to support themselves. But I think it didn't start with millennials. I think it's been going on for some generations now. And I think the real crux of the matter is, unlike Jesus, who at the beginning of what in many terms is considered the start of your adult stage or going to be an adult, he clearly started off knowing from whom he came and from whom he identified with. So I think the main thing here to focus on is that it's important that our children and even us as adults know who it is we identify with, because from that identity is attached our purpose. If you identify with something outside of God, then you will purpose yourself and purpose your life outside of God.